What's all this talk about a new kind of democracy? What's wrong with the old one?
Good question. In 1988, Arny Mindell developed the concept of deep democracy. He realized that until now, the world has some good methods for dealing with problems, but hasn't been very gifted at dealing with really difficult conflict situations, and especially in creating better relationships between people. So, he developed some new steps in democracy. For speaking more about deep democracy, let's take a look at the older concept of democracy.
Okay, sounds interesting.
In its traditional form, democracy is exercised in part through voting, majority rule, while protecting minority viewpoints, and the freedom to listen to all voices. Great ideas. However, democracy is rarely something that we consciously manifest in daily life. Whether during political debates, community meetings, personal relationships, or even inside ourselves.
What do you mean? We're not democratic inside ourselves?
Think about it for a moment. Ordinarily, most people tend to favor and identify with certain parts of themselves. And might marginalize other aspects of their natures that they don't like or are shy about. Now, let's think about democracy in our communities or nations. As mentioned earlier in the film, traditional democracy has broad voting and some equal rights. This is so very important. But not enough. It doesn't necessarily bring democracy fully to life.
Huh. Why not?
For example, some laws might be passed for greater gender equality, but in the background, unworked out gender tensions and problems, personally and professionally, still simmer, as they have for centuries. Now, let's think about the root of the word, democracy. In Greek, democracy equals demos, which means citizens, and krati means power. In other words, power to the people. A great idea. But it can also bring a few problems. The emphasis on power can inadvertently support a mentality based mainly on fighting and winning. For example, typical debates and campaigns between political parties often focus on beating the other candidates, being tough on opponents, showing greater strength or intelligence, and, above all, winning. In other words, the smartest or most powerful in a given situation, or those in the majority, win. Debating and winning can surely be exciting and important sometimes. Even thrilling. Many of us like a good debate. And it can be very important, sometimes a matter of life and death, to stand for what you feel is right. But when that isn't enough, we need more. And many of us have had enough of a consistent battle or war mentality. Especially when there's a conflict between nations or different ideologies. We are in need of more eldership to not only take part in, but to facilitate interactions. Elder the different sides. Help bring about creative resolutions and, most importantly, deepen relationships and create a greater sense of community. Therefore, Arny realized that democracy is, in essence, a dream still trying to happen. And that we need a deeper democracy. Deep democracy states that we need awareness in order to really bring democracy's most cherished beliefs and ideals to life, both in our private and public worlds.
Why?
Without awareness and eldership to process our experiences, personal relationships, political discourse, social action, and community meetings are in danger of striving for outer change while potentially and inadvertently replicating the problems of history.
What do you mean by awareness? And what's the danger?
For example, I might speak out about the need for openness and freedom towards others, while at the same time dominating a conversation and not listening to anyone else. So, without awareness of our moment-to-moment behavior, we can inadvertently perpetuate on a small scale the very behavior we're trying to struggle against. Similarly, laws can be passed to outlaw racism and other forms of discrimination. Yet, if our hearts and minds are not changed as well, and if we aren't aware of the subtle ways that we influence one another in our moment-to-moment interactions, even the best laws can potentially cover over deep-seated conflicts and wounds. And history, then, tends to repeat. So, learning about and using this type of awareness can be important for all of us, and especially for facilitators. Greater awareness of the overt issues we are focusing on, as well as the more hidden or dreamlike dimensions of communication, can help to bring some of the core values of democracy into living action. There are many more details about deep democracy and its various dimensions. We'll learn much more later on in the film. Bye for now.
Okay. That gives me a lot to think about. Thanks, and bye for now.